This is Ryan.
And I'm John.
Welcome to preview season.
Oath of the Gatewatch.
All right, so for this episode, we've got a cycle of 5 cards that are kind of related. They're all gold, and they all cost 3 mana, I think, right?
They do.
Yeah. All right, so let's jump right in it with Reflector Mage first. If you're in Esper colors, this guy acts as a really roundabout method of removal. When you bounce something, make them hold it until your next turn, and then force them to discard it with maybe like a Mind Rot or Despise or something. But that is a total last-ditch effort, to be sure. You're better off just bouncing an animated land or something that's stacked with +1/+1 counters, thanks to either Awaken or Support.
So I hate to spoil this straight up, but this is the best card of all 5 of these cards. It's amazing. It's a really cool tempo play in limited, and this type of creature, the bounce a creature for 3 mana attached to a creature, is always very good. And this one in particular looks to be a really high draft pick. I'd always be happy to open this card.
Absolutely. How about we move on to Mindmelter? Now, this is my top pick so far for cards I don't want to see on the table across from me. Repeatable discard can become valuable mid to late game as the board stalls out. You can't hold any tricks going into your opponent's combat step, which can really put you at a disadvantage the longer things go on, don't you think?
Yeah, so this card feels a little bit like Dimir Guild Mage from original Ravnica.
Yeah.
It helps you simulate curving a 3 into a 4-drop without needing a 4-drop. So you just play it for turn 3, turn 4 you make them discard a card. It's good with all the synergies that a Devoid deck wants. You want to ingest, you want to have a Devoid body, and it's also unblockable on top of that, which is just gravy.
Yeah. Let's take a look next at Joraga Auxiliary. Let's see. At least it's an ally, and it'll trigger something when it shows up on the battlefield. And a 2/3 body for 3 mana isn't too bad, but I'd hope for a better reward, being that it requires 2 colors. Maybe you can use the support ability to beef up your Scion tokens, but it feels like a pretty big mana sink for something that can't even help itself grow any bigger. Now, in a pinch, you can use the support on your teammates' creatures and Two-Headed Giant, but that's only if you find yourself with nothing better to do on your turn.
Yeah, it's another unexciting green card in a very long line of unexciting green cards in this block. It's great if you can get to the late game, but the thing is that you can play cards that are also great when you get to the late game, like Valakut Invoker or Hagra Sharpshooter, that don't lock you into playing green.
Yeah, so here's maybe a little bit better of a green card, I think. Relentless Hunter.
Now this guy I can get behind.
Totally. Red and green have been the landfall colors mainly, and ally colors behind white, but this doesn't really fit either of those strategies. Instead, it kind of stands alone as a card that has to be answered, or it just runs all over everything on the board. I think it's a solid pickup for decks that have a lot of ramp, but can't manage to draw their bigger threats either. I see it as an inflate your own beat stick kind of card.
Oh yeah, totally. It totally demands an immediate answer on an empty board. And the nice thing about it in limited is that it dodges commonly seen removal like complete disregard by just pumping itself.
Yep. Great. So let's move on to one more here. We've got Flayer Drone. Now this guy requires that the creatures enter play under your control, so there's no double dipping on your teammates' plays and Two-Headed Giant. I've been seeing a lot of weird parallels between Oath and Battle for Zendikar. This guy actually reminds me of Kalastria Healer, but in a bad way. So he's like the evil ally version of that. That's another great example of how the Eldrazi are taking the things that we already know and love and have seen and kind of twisting or corrupting them for their own use, even if it's less effective. In this case, you don't gain life the way that the healer would have gotten you some. Still kind of a neat parallel between the two sets mechanically.
So my favorite archetype in Battle for Zendikar draft that did not contain 3 copies of a 0/6 wall is the red-black Devoid deck, and it's all about reach, aggression, and a critical mass of cheap Devoid bodies. And Flayer Drone has all 3 just in one package, so it's really great, and I look forward to taking this card maybe when I'm not supposed to, but that's okay because I love the deck and this card looks great.
Yeah, these a really interesting block of cards here that should definitely shake up kind of the limited format, to be sure.
Totally.
If you're excited about any of these or any of the cards previewed so far, be sure to hit up TCGplayer.com for pre-orders starting right now, and check back with us as we continue to preview cards as soon as they're revealed anywhere. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.